my eye. Through the mist, my surprise shone light from distant northern skies. At that point, I realized I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play.
Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, interviews with awakened masters as they share their quantum work with you. The Quantum Guide Show is produced by Karen Holton, creator of the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation, a free 9-step online course to give you the tips and resources you need to thrive. Karen lost and continues to keep off 178 pounds of surplus body weight as she made her dreams come true. Whether you are awakening to the ascension process or simply want a wiser, more efficient lifestyle, this program is for you. No strings attached. The Quantum Guide Show is brought to you in part by Zendome's Orgonite, Karen's unique brand of orgone generators, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. Find out how orgone generators work and what they can do for you. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out Karen's current selection, only available from her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show, episode 45. Today, my guest is Gloria Canning. Gloria is a lifelong contact experiencer. She is also a visionary artist, psychic medium, and is the creator of the Inception Podcast, which is featured on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. The Inception Podcast is a platform where the conversation transcends reality, free-falling deep down the rabbit hole to discuss the human experience and its interconnectedness of everything, which is dependent upon the non-dual one. Hi, Gloria, how are you doing today?
Hi, Karen. I'm doing very well, and thank you for inviting me onto your amazing show.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So we've sort of rubbed elbows back and forth. I've been on your show, now you're on my show, and we're both part of the Forbidden Knowledge News Network team, which is great.
Yeah.
And but I actually don't really know that much about your background, so I'm really excited that we get to delve into that a little bit today. So I wanted to start off with, where did let's say the metaphysical, because that's sort of an umbrella term, when and where did that begin for you?
Oh gosh, it's only with hindsight I can go back to a certain part. I think it started in childhood when I realized I didn't realize, I just felt I didn't belong in the reality. And even as a toddler, my elder sister had told me I was doing telepathy. I knew I was talking to what we call dead people. So I think I sort of came in, maybe that's what they say, you come in with some memory, and then later on, around about 7 or whatever, it tends to dissipate. Mine didn't dissipate too much. It did, because it was a situation I was born into that masked a lot. So I would say it really started as a very small child when I realized reality wasn't, I didn't know the word metaphysical, but reality wasn't what everyone else was experiencing. I think that's when it really started. It kicked off my recognition of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us some examples of what you experienced as a child that let you know that you lived in a different reality?
I think it was, I have memories of playing with toys, like in back in the day when we were younger, darling, not too long ago, they were like wooden bricks, and I just have a memory of levitating the bricks. I remember that, doing that. I have memories of telepathy. I have memories of, I do have memories of using, at that point, I thought was my mind to move things. So I think as a young child, I was already preparing for the human experience and just touching in, because obviously, you know, the maturity of a small child is like comprehension zero. I was just playing with the energies. So they're the sort of things I recall as a small child doing them once. Yeah.
I can really relate to that. I can remember being about 2 years old, and because I was sitting on the toilet, and at that age, you know, you sort of have to hang on so you don't fall in, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember that there was a big checkerboard pattern on the floor, and I can remember that I was able to make it so it rolled like the ocean surface. And things like that. And I would go tell people, and they'd say, "Oh, don't tell anyone that. They're going to think you're crazy. You know, that's impossible." And ha ha ha. And it's how funny it was trying to shut me down. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So then at what point did you meet ET? And did you meet more than one kind, or was it always sort of one specific race?
Well, it's again with hindsight. So obviously, from a toddler all the way through, I thought, because it wasn't in my understanding the word ET. I mean, back in the day, and you know, from our days, you notice how I say "our," so I'm not on my own here. That wasn't in the 3D reality or anything.
No,
so,
it wasn't.
Because I was experiencing what we call dead people, I thought what I called I thought they were midgets or something like that, but were dead people. That it wasn't in my awareness. So it started in childhood. And even when I was having like what you would call training in dreams, like I was being shown how to be a human, how concepts work, and all the other things I was shown. I never really, it was as it was coming in, I always knew there were beings, and I think I tended to think they were angels as a child, more so than anything. I knew they were different to dead people, but these beings also showed me how to do rescue mediumship from a Homo sapien that's gone to the next timeline and hasn't realized it's past because of the shock or the trauma. So I saw them as angels because there was so much love, obviously. It wasn't till later on in life, in increments, that when extraterrestrials, the word, the pictures, the drawings, Whitley Strieber, did I realize, which crashed my reality at the time, that, oh my gosh, they've been there from the very beginning. So it wasn't until later on. I was like I hear everyone say it, and I'm going to have to agree, it's like a training ground. It's just a training ground. But that's only with hindsight, Karen. Can I say that now? At the time, no idea. It was just my reality. I could do things and see things. But when I was younger, I'll give you one experience. Even though at the time I didn't know who it was, the midgets were at the bottom of the bed. And it was the same process. And I'd always face the wall, and I'd roll over, and they'd call my name, and I'd look down the bed and I'd go, no, not again. But I was familiar with them, and I would play like a game, a child's game, and I would hide. And then I hear Gloria, and I turned, and the two were still there, closer. And I go, no, I don't want to play. And then I don't remember no more. So it was very much like that. My interaction with them, I think it must have been more of a game. At that stage, before the heavy information come in later on. Yeah.
Wow, that's really exciting. So was it always the same kind of beings, or was there different kinds of beings that we hear about today?
There's been the ones that I called angels. the teachers. I call them angels, but they may not have been. It's my label, my understanding.
Mhm.
But they were definitely like creator gods, I could call them now. They
Mhm.
understood the reality I was coming in, and like they were showing me how to interact and become. Obviously the greys, I paint them. I've been painting them for years. There were small greys, tall greys,
So
creamy
this is
greys.
a different group than the ones that you accepted as angels then. What is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
totally different bit. Oh
Oh,
my,
okay. Can you switch over and tell us a bit about what happened with the grays that gave you an awful taste in your mouth? And was it a bad experience
well,
or?
it wasn't a bad experience. I was unaware that I was experiencing these greys until I saw the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, the picture.
Yeah.
That just destroyed the whole of my reality, the fear, the panic. I did at some point attempt suicide and failed. That was the only fear I experienced, was to acknowledge, because it shattered my whole identity, my whole truth. I had to, everything was a lie. And I was still very young, as in, I don't know how young I was, but I was still very young. That was the only terrors I had. But straight after that, it seems everything had already been implanted in for me to use discernment. So then I went on my journey, my search. I became a Christian, I became a Muslim, I became a Buddhist, I became everything you can think of, studied quantum physics. And the more that I kept searching, this urge to find home, it was like to find home. I always said, I don't belong here, I need to go home. Then I understood started to understand what the experiences were about. And over the period of time, I realized they were preparing me. I had come in, agreed, and they were preparing me and helping me to be human, to experience what was coming. I never had a negative, I can't recall, a negative experience. And the sort of analogies that I give when people talk about being paralyzed, I've never said paralyzed. I have an understanding that when they come, they put my consciousness, the physical aspect of my consciousness, into a certain vibration, and they calm down the emotional and the psychological areas. I can see them, there's no fear, but I feel no trauma, I feel no pain, and I don't even use the word, I'm paralyzed, I can't move. It never ever come into to my reality. So I have an understanding of what the process was about, so to speak, if that makes sense to you. Yeah.
Oh, it totally does. I'm just wondering, another question I have is, why do you think that some of us are chosen and some of us aren't? Or is it that people don't remember? Or what's your take on it? Because I have similar experiences and I don't think I'm any kind of an extraordinary human being. You know what I mean?
I agree. That is a real difficult one to go into. However, it's come up a few times over the last year, and I realized if it keeps coming back, I need to go into it. At one point, when I was younger, I used to say I was an angel. Okay, I didn't know why I would say I was an angel, because that's the only thing I could relate to, anything other than 3D. And then, as with all the teaching I was given on how to do things with the planets or with science and astrology, it was like being in university. I had this awareness. I know this is going to sound egotistic, but it relates to everyone, not just me. You are the one. But I was aware that others were the one, because I'd seen them as well. So it was given it to me in the first stage through the identity. And it's very hard for the identity. If I don't like the word chosen, because it looks like superiority or hierarchical system. I think every Homo sapiens sapien is part of the puzzle. Some are doing one part, some are doing the other. And it's only the egos of judgment of another. However, I was aware that I was here to do something particular, but I was also very aware 30 years ago I would meet others, and I was shown the path where we'd all come together. So yes, there is, I think everyone is consciousness. So if for my truth at the moment, when consciousness goes into self-realization and the shards come back in one by one, it's collective, universal, but it's a process. It's a play of form. So every Homo sapiens sapien, limited conscious being, will get there, but they'll come their way, their experience. It's the whole point of coming home from a different perspective. So it doesn't make anyone less or higher, but long way round. Yes, I was told I was the one at very early stages. Yeah, I couldn't deal with that. I thought that was egotistic. I'm not worthy. Here you go, the belief systems. And you start to work on that, and that dissipates. And when you say I'm the one, you know, well, if I'm the one, you're the one. It's a different perception of I am the one. I hope that answered your question, or would you like me to expand?
No, I agree with you. I think I'll just paraphrase to see if I understood you correctly. So even though at a very early age you were told that you were the one, you recognize that there were other people who were also the one, and you believe that everybody is on their own individual or unique path to, let's just say, enlightenment or being fully awakened and up to our potential, but we all come across it from different directions. Where I'm not clear is, do you think everyone has had ET experiences? And I'm using ET very loosely here, right? But an ET would not be a dead Earth person, you know, it would be somebody from somewhere else. What's your take on that?
For my truth at the moment, because I'm a medium and I have groups, and I've met other beings that have, ET has never been in their reality. However, once they've sort of connected with me, they start to experience ET. Or I read them and I said, you're an experiencer, and they never knew they were. So it's possible. I can't see why it wouldn't be that every being on this is part of the play has experienced ET, interdimensional beings of some shape or form, whether it be angels or ascended masters, or it goes to follow that we've all got this, it's called in spirituality the highest self part of the journey. I can't see that they haven't. It may not be ET though, because I'm meeting people said no, and then you're in the energy and they go, this come into my room. Well, it doesn't come out of the blue. It comes at the time that your limited consciousness is aware or evolved enough, or you've done enough work on your belief systems to experience the next part of the experience. So I think every individual conscious being is working towards that. And I reckon, from birth, it doesn't bother me if it's from birth or not. I don't judge it either way.
So have you ever been aboard, been taken aboard any of the ships, what we would call a spaceship?
I have.
And what was that like?
There's two occasions, obviously, because you get memory, and I was surprised I recalled. So there was one, I was in my bedroom and sitting up in the bed, so to speak. And actually, what comes first was what is labeled today like a humanoid or a human-looking being. But because I'd experienced them in the sort of training, they look like us, because I kept going around back in the day saying they're here, and they're human. It didn't bother me, and I looked. And as I looked at this being, it looked human, but it was too good looking to be human, obviously. It started to spin its energy. I can't explain this stuff. And so fast, pure light, and then out of that manifests the grey. So they were confirming, we're here in human form, but this is, and we come in that form to calm you down first. And there was this, I'd say more grey, maybe a creamier looking one. And next thing I know, I'm floating up out of the bed. I had 2 windows in this bedroom. And I just remember going, oh, wow. And I floated out. I floated over the back garden, didn't even crash into the tree or nothing. No obstacle. You see the tree, but you're just going through. And there, it wasn't landed, but it was a small one, and it was close to the ground. And all I recall is floating towards it, like, I know what this is, it's fine. There's that one. The one where I did recall, I was inside this craft, and it was the weirdest thing ever. And they had, like, it was, the windows were so big, I can't even imagine it, but it seemed to be curved, but it was organic. I can't even. And I was in this craft, and I heard a voice, like an echo of, I won't name the person, but someone I know, saying, I can't find you. So I had a recognition, they're with me too, on the craft. And I remember looking, and I remember the screen. There was a screen, and there were some beings, but I didn't quite catch them. I do remember and I don't remember no more after that part, but I was being shown. Oh, I remember, for some reason, and I've never worked it out, there was like it looked like computers, but I don't know what it was. But there was all of these mobile phones, and they were just stashed there. And it was an awareness of, this communication will go. This is not the communication of it. So there was that one. I'm trying to think, God, how many? And there was one where I didn't go on board, but it was right above me, above my head. Yeah. So
were these were sort of spiritual experiences, like that, where you're like astral traveling when they had them? You didn't actually have to put on your coat and walk out there and climb the stairs and get on. So it was. No,
it's always been spiritual. It's always been my consciousness with their consciousness. Always. It's never been get your coat on, go down the road. Never. No.
Yeah, it's quite common. You know, there's a small, well, not small, there's a bit of a divide. Hopefully we're overcoming it, you know, between the nuts and bolts ET researchers and then the actual experiencers. And, you know, it's just too easy to wave your hand and say, we're all nutcases, we're all nutters. Well, no, we're not. And what's really cool is, it took me a long time to find my community, and I just knew that when I was ready, that I would my community would come. And I'm talking about my earthly community here. And but as I get to know more and more folks, I think that the majority of us are having what I would class as a spiritual experience. You know, where our bodies are tucked in bed at home, and away we go, and it's amazing. I also feel there's a huge overlap between ET contact, other spiritual realms contact, remote viewing, astral projection, and the psychic gifts that we receive once we're open to it and can hold the frequency. What's your take on that, Gloria?
I agree, absolutely. I just lump it all with another label. It's all paranormal. I was born with the gift of remote view, and I never knew that till later on. You know, precognition, all of it, seeing dead people, seeing the future, everything you could think of, we've all got that in that aspect. So I'm in total agreement with that. It just, whatever the journey we're going through, it all comes out at different phases. And like you, I knew when the time was right. I don't want to say like-minded people, because I'm coming out the identity. I'd reconnect as they'd shown me with other human experiences. So I call, my terminology is constantly changed because I can't articulate through the old language. So I now call it the human experiences, because that's what we've done. We are still now in the experience of being human into self-realization. So I agree totally that it's all under one hat. And before, as it should have been, it was I can't say the word, is it decompartmentalized or whatever you call it, put in sections.
Yeah.
So we have, this one and mediumship. And no, it's now, for me, everything, all timelines, all shards are coming back in. It's now in the one. It's one, has always been one, but the human separated it because of its limited understanding and trying to study it separately. So that now is coming into the whole, which is really good. It's really, really good.
Oh, it's amazing. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about Chris Matthew is he has given a safe space for us to come and tell our experiences and encourage each other.
I'll get money off him later for saying that. You're going to get some too. Checks in the post. Yes.
Well, it's just my truth, because I, like you, if it wasn't for Chris Matthew, I don't know if I'd even be here today. So he's a very humble guy, but he's pretty important in all of this. I think we're all
a family of something going on. I recognized it, and every time I connected with Chris first, and I knew, and you're an experiencer anyway. Recently, and then I met Ryder, and then I met another, then I met Lindsay, then I met this, and it's all, and you just recognize, it's like I'm recognizing somehow these beings. I know you. I have like all psychic mediums have anyway, but I've got like the bullshit detector, so I know if you're an experiencer or not. I just got to hear the vibration of the room and I'm in. And so yes, it's like it's all coming, but we're all coming as it should be from different timelines, our own truth, and we're all coming back into the one. And that's the beauty of Forbidden Knowledge News Network, that it's Chris and Corey have allowed everything to come in. No holds bar. It doesn't matter what you talk about, bring it on. I totally agree with you there, Karen. Well, we know we agree with a lot of things, so come on, let's get going then. Another one.
So I was wondering, how do you communicate with other beings? Do you use your voice, or do you talk to them, or do you read, or do you connect on a psychic level? How does that happen for you?
I'm going to use, it used to be voice hearing in the head. Then I don't know how to explain this. Not all the time though, a lot of it was telepathic. I know this sounds really drastic, but they'd wipe my brain from human concepts and analytical side, the left side. And over the years, then it was a different type of telepathy. I can't even explain it, what it is, because I don't know how to label it. Then when the community, then as I suppose as a self-realization come about, then I would find I would be talking, and as I was talking, I could feel the energy. I recognize their energy when they're around me, because I normally get very, very hot, or I get ice cold at the back. It depends who's there. And as I'm talking, I've actually experienced me shift out the way. It's not channeling, I'm conscious, and then every so often it would come through, and I'm going, who said that? And then, but it was like I had to balance with it and learn. It went through like that, and it got stronger and stronger. And then I started to notice when the mind was coming in, when I was just talking, I could be talking to anybody in my mediums group or anything, because I did workshops, it just come in, until at one point it just went, and it's just there. And that's why I will say, let it be organic. I don't want to know what I'm going to talk about if it's meant to come out. So I trust it. I've learned to trust it, that it just speaks by itself. So, but it's consciousness to consciousness telepathy. That's the only way I can say this. It's like a one. It's like superposition in quantum physics, you know. You've got two beings, you tickle one, the other one feels it simultaneously. That's the only way I can describe what happens now. Still, Gloria comes through as an arsehole now and again, you know. You know, but yeah, that's how it is now. It's a different type of connection. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your mediumship? How did that get started for you, and how have you used that tool?
Well, the mediumship, as I said, was since I was very young. I never understood it. And I always used to go around, because obviously I was raised in a Christian family. I was told I was diagnosed with schizophrenia because I was seeing things and talking to things and interacting with things. I'm not surprised though, back in the day, I must have been scary. And I had abilities that people said were a bit like the film Carrie. I don't know if you've seen it, it's a horror film, where she, you know, uses her for the worst things. Later on, I thought it was normal to speak with dead people. I'll tell you something really funny. It was very later on in life, maybe in my 30s, I can't remember. And I met a couple of lovely ladies, and they were mediums. I'd never heard the word medium in my life. I was very sheltered from childhood into the marriage, sheltered, locked away, so to speak. And it was after coming out of the marriage, getting a divorce. And I said, you mediums, this is a God's truth. You talk to dead people. Now, I never called them dead people when I was little. They were just there, normal. So, and I remember this lady saying to me, yeah, and who do you talk to? What do you mean, who do I was couldn't put it into context. So we had this conversation. He was like, oh, fuck. I said, oh, it's me. And that's you. Because she could recognize it in me. And she's what you call like a circuit medium in London. Bless her, she's passed now as well. And she, you know, amazing, but she was highly spiritual. And she taught me how to work with this to serve humanity. So for me, I just lived it. So I went into psychometry, I did my circles, but I never, ever, Karen, wanted to be a platform medium, never. What I did find earlier on, I was a rescue medium. And then I would recall, oh, that's what they showed me. That's what they showed me. And to teach that, you know, someone said, oh, I got a demon in my house, so I'd go in and I'd just say, it's an energy echo. There's no one here. It's an energy. It's just, you know. And so there was a lot of sharing information that I'd been given and the skill sets that they'd given me. So I used it for that. And up to this year, I've done workshops on telepathy to enhance their telepathic communication and deconstruct their belief systems about it. Remote viewing workshop, same thing. And I did a workshop on psychic detection, because I did work for a couple of years as on a newspaper to assist in 2 cold cases with it. So just to help. I have a group, but however, I'm not out there practicing being a medium, so to speak. It's just a natural thing. It gets used when it's needed to be used. So that's how I've used that.
Wonderful. So I'm wondering if you could just speak a little bit more about what does that mean, a rescue medium? Who would contact you for help? Now, I know you mentioned that somebody might feel there's a demon in their house and you go in and you figure out what's really going on. What other things would you do as a rescue medium?
Well, actually, you can bring the positive in. I went into in one home and this person hadn't slept in their own bed for about 3 years. And they got another family member to come into the bed because they sensed a presence in the room, observing them. When I went into the house, I saw the gentleman. He was not anything what you'd call low vibrational. And he was like, you could even call a guardian angel, protecting her. And he'd been there all their time because there was something on the land in another building that wasn't very nice at all. And it was, he wouldn't leave because of that. So that's it. So after I worked through that, and then worked with the other ones that were there, and it's a case of you just, if they know they've passed. So if they don't know their past, then you have to find a way in like you would anybody else. And what's the last thing do you remember? Where were you? And oh yeah, ET got me to experience being dead and thinking I was dead, and how did I die? So they taught me that myself. That was a really weird experience. So that's how I would use it. So then now this lovely guy is still in this house. This lady sleeps, doesn't need anyone in the room. And she'll say, oh, I saw him watching, just stood there while I was watching TV. And so what that did, it broke down the fears of the different types of consciousness, which is a road in to what we call ET. So I work through the spirit world first, and then when the fears start to drop, then I give the analogy of, well, if a dimensional being comes through, why would you fear that either? You are that consciousness. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I wonder if we could just go back a little bit. Why is it that you hate the Greys so much? What is it about?
I don't hate them.
I'm sorry. I thought you said
I don't hate the Greys. I don't hate them at all. I actually see them as family in some weird way. I am connected to them, I would say, from a Homo sapien perspective, DNA-wise, by a bloodline. No, I do not hate them. I have no cause to, I don't hate anyone, actually. A good few years ago I did, but not now. What can you hate? It's a game. But no, I do not hate them, Karen, at all. I never understood them for a period of time, which is part of the experience. Same with rescue mediumship. To change the way you look at things and the things then you see the truth that was hidden all along. So it was irrational fears, but no, never hated them. Never. I mean, I have to attribute their interaction when I was diagnosed with years ago bladder cancer. And I went through the victim mode, before even self-realization. Oh, it's not fair, and all that you do. And my poor kids, and a friend come who was awakened and told me, would you just shut the fuck up? Do you realize it? And he was really hard. So I'm quite hard on people. He said it as it was, and I wanted to harm him because he hit my ego. He was breaking me down. He got through, and I allowed, and whatever was coming was coming. Long story short, when I went into surgery, it'd gone. I have to attribute that to the consciousness that has been guiding me, whether it's these beings or other beings or my being, because I had to let go of the identity. I was faced with death once more. So that's how it's worked with me. Different from others, but that's been my journey. Normally death is the one. Give us some more experiences.
Well, it's interesting, the things that we're not as humans, born into this construct, that we're not instructed about, that we don't, like nobody even really talks about what it's like to be pregnant and to give birth. Oh, you can watch all the educational videos you want, you can go to all the classes you want, but there's no way I was prepared for that experience. Same thing for menopause. Even puberty. Puberty is friggin' huge.
Yes.
It really fucks up your life, and nobody talks about it. They just hand you a Protex and tell you to go take care of yourself.
Yeah, no one. I remember.
And death is another one,
Another one. I remember about puberty and periods, and I remember this. I was in all-girls school, and they said you're going to have a teaspoon of blood. Do you know what, love? That was shot.
Pardon me.
But it's the same. And what it is, you cannot understand an experience till you go through the experience.
Yeah.
And every experience will be different. The orange, cut it in half. You have half, I have half. We'll experience having an orange but we won't experience it the same. And I think it's the same for this journey. We're all starting to understand, we're all having the human experience, but so different. And the exciting part is sharing the journey. And as we all come back into the one, it's sharing that journey. But no, you're not taught anything like that at all. You're not, I was told on the divorce, oh, divorce is easy. You've got grounds. I had grounds. Yeah, court ruling, yeah. No,
that's another thing that fucks up your life for years.
For fucking years, yeah.
If you're actually feeling your feelings and dealing with your stuff, it is.
Yes, yeah. And you have to work through all of that as well. So I must say though, I mean, sorry guys, we may have digressed, but I never went through the menopause. I already had a lot of control in my reality. And I said, I'm not doing this shit because I'd had enough in this experience. And it just went. I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
I was a lucky one.
But we're not really taught about death. If we belong to a particular religion, they have a take on it. And of course, it's about more social control. If you do this, do that, and do everything else, go to heaven. Otherwise, you're going to go to hell. What the hell have we done so bad to go to hell? Well, maybe some people, I don't know. But I actually found that, and I know I'm digressing, but everything is a digression of everything else. It's all connected.
Digress away.
It's all connected. But, you know, I actually, I went to a lot of different religions too. You know, I have a copy of the Quran. I have a copy of the, I don't know how to say it properly, the Bhagavad Gita, you know, I've got the Quran, the Kabbalah. Like I was interested in all of it, and I got quite confused. I even spent almost 20 years as a Jehovah's Witness.
Wow, that was a good one.
Yeah, I really tried to be a good Christian, but anyway, long story short, it actually held me back profoundly from evolving. And I'm not saying religion's bad. If it's doing it for you, great. But for me, it was holding me back. And I know this is going to sound very arrogant, but I don't mean it that way. But for me, going to church is like asking Superman to take the bus.
Yeah.
They just, you know what I mean? Especially now because we're evolving so quickly. So I was wondering, you probably do know a little bit about this. I've been doing some research lately on Project Looking Glass. Mm-hmm. And apparently there is a very, very good reason to be hopeful, and that you and I and Chris and Corey, and we're all a part of bringing in this awakening. Do you want to speak to that? Because I'm sure you know something about that, because that leads into even your podcast, which I want you to talk about.
Yes, I am fully aware of what is called Project Looking Glass. So if anyone in the audience hasn't, I'm going to kill it, but I will give the brief description. It's a group of people back in the day, looking into future timelines to control the future timelines for their personal egotistic reasons. But whenever they got to a certain time or any timeline, they couldn't change it. They couldn't beat it. In other words, guys, we've already done it. We've won. So yes, I'm aware of that, and I gave on Chris's show. I gave an analogy that many people use this analogy. I'm not the only one, of the 7 moves.
Yes.
On the
Please
7
tell
moves,
the audience about this, because it's really important.
There's 2 chess players, and I always say they're Russian because I think the Russians are the best chess players in the world. So don't send the hate mail. And there's 7 moves left. The game is already over. The winner knows I've won, and the loser knows I've lost, but there's still 7 moves. And humanity is watching the game. Humanity does not know it's over, but the 2 chess players know it's over. So the one who knows it's already lost, if you want, is somewhere down the linear timeline, tries to drag it out, make it a bit exciting, drag it out, but the game's already up. So it's 7 moves. For my truth, I have become absolutely 100%, if you want to term it that, aware. We have already done it. It's done. And you're just seeing the last 7 moves, and how you can recognize it. People have said to me, why is this illusionary fear and control, why is it all of a sudden they've never shifted so fast, one after the other, and they're now even lying and they don't care. And I said, because it's over. It's over. It's done. And one thing is the source consciousness. There is no other than consciousness. It always wins. It's done. That's from my truth. So yes, it's already done. I'm not saying it's easy to perceive this, but if you look with some discernment, you can start and ponder a bit. You can start to see it's already done. So they're going to come down even harder, but do not fear. It's 7 moves left. It might be 9, but I'm using the analogy of 7 moves.
No, I totally agree. And what's happening is people are discovering their psychic gifts.
Yes.
And they're getting stronger.
My God, yes.
The manifesting is getting stronger.
Yes.
You know, I can't believe even the changes in myself as I go down this so-called rabbit hole, but it's actually how we're living right now. And what's interesting too is I've done in my day a bit of research on narcissistic relationships. Yeah. And it really, to me, it's very clear that the nefarious elite class, let's just call them that, they're total narcissists. So what happens is they have their own delusion, which is clearly a delusion. We can see it. They can't because they're drinking their own Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah.
But even more than that, they're like psychotic. They really believe that they're winning and they're still doing their crap, even though it's obvious that
they don't know the game's over. Yeah. They
don't
know.
The other thing about psychopaths is where most of us are familiar that they do not have the ability to have empathy or compassion.
No, they don't.
They couldn't do what they do if they had empathy or compassion. No. But they also, what goes along with that is creativity, novel thinking, imagining a world so different than what we have right now, and the ability to create that together and make it happen. They're clueless. They don't have any of that. So they're completely missing the boat. So even though, you know, if you turn on the news, it kind of looks like, oh my goodness, all these people are just totally ruining the planet and humanity and our relationship. But that's all an illusion. Would you agree with that, Gloria?
It's an absolute illusion. It's a divine play. Now this when we agreed to come into this 3D reality, it's a polarity. We've in the past we've had outbreaks of seeing the evil ones over there and over there, but as the fractalization and the self-realization comes back into play, so each shard is of the whole, is of the source, comes back in. We are now seeing what I don't know, maybe you could term it the last polarity. It is so in everyone's face. I'm not making a division, but it's to recognize the experience of polarity. These I call what we've been in is the Stockholm Syndrome. These are narcissists, coercive, no feelings, no empathy. They can mimic it. They can mimic the emotion, however, they don't have it. So the humanity is being shown as it comes, and the reason it's coming down, you're seeing the absolute polarity of who you truly are. For the first time, as you come into self-realization, you're seeing it. But obviously, if you're aware of who you are, you see who they are. And it's just an illusion. It's a play of form. And yes, I'm in total agreement with you. And that's why I have that awareness. And I've got I don't like to say that, but I have the awareness, 7 moves left. They will become aware, even those will become aware. But I think you need to understand the illusion of play, the divine play. We are actors in a film. We are producing it. We are directing it. We are casting it. We're writing the scripts. How the hell, when we look back in hindsight, we can look back and go, oh yeah, that was put there to wake me up. That was to put there to wake. But it's always in hindsight. We've always been awake and aware all the way through, but not until self-realization. You can look back at the human experience and say, I put that there, like Hansel and Gretel, breadcrumbs, and each time a bit of awakening come, another one, another. But as you're experiencing, which you come to do, the human experience, I consciousness, experiencing all things at all times, all timelines, all universes, all places now. And you can just see it's back to the one. And it's a very, very important part of the evolution of consciousness, not Homo sapiens, consciousness.
It's an evolution of everything. And then also the convergence of all the timelines.
Absolutely.
That's really,
Convergence.
really exciting.
In one. Yeah. And this is why people are coming to me and saying, I'm experiencing like these like bleeps coming into my reality. And so I explain what that is, the timelines coming together. I don't know if you're aware, but there was one that I went in, well, it's shown me, I actually believe, I don't believe it's my truth, my knowing of the timelines, because I've actually witnessed myself in another timeline. She was not aware of me. I was not aware of her until she turned and I looked and went, oh, she was more scared than I was. And that just opened up. Quantum physics, the many worlds theory, quantum bubbles, and all of the rest. It all came into play, and it made sense. Quantum physics made sense of the human experience, and it gave me, and it made sense of me floating through a bloody wall, because it's the observer effect. So if I'm observing from the identity of a Homo sapiens sapien, I cannot go through a frigging wall. But if I'm the observer in self-realization, I can go through that wall. And these other beings that are on this journey with us, it's for them, it's for everything, Mother Earth, planets, they're already at that stage. And they're just, I don't know, I say, you wait for us to catch up. I mean, come on, we've had fun. We've killed, we've murdered, we've raped, we've mutilated, we've cheated, we've lied. We've experienced all the polarities of the true self. And all of that is to realize, who am I? Oh shit, that's me. Oh shit. And we've just been actors in a play. Sometimes it's a bit difficult. I do agree. Sometimes you get caught up in something, but yeah, it's a ride. It's a ride. And
Sure is. Now, we're quickly running out of time. It goes by very, very quickly when we're really involved in a good conversation. But I would like you to tell folks a bit about the Inception podcast. How'd you come up with the concept? How often do you, produce your shows? Where can people find you? All that kind of good stuff.
Okay. The podcast come about, as did my other show, Open Minds, due to the interaction with these beings. And it started off with the Open Minds first, which was to share experiences coming on the show, just like, we're talking now. But then it wasn't long ago, I had some information, because we're coming out of the Homo sapiens sapien experience and we're dropping the concepts and tools we use. Instead of talking about the Homo sapiens sapien, we need to evolve the conversation, conscious being to another conscious being. And the topic has to be on that, as these other beings communicate from consciousness to, they're fully aware of who they are and still have a wonderful experience. We're just stepping into that. So the Inception podcast has 15 doors. There's about 15 sort of questions, conversation, but it's nothing external, it's internal, where I go into the guest and get them to draw out of themselves from let consciousness speak. So it becomes quite normal to start talking from that perception, that truth, without a belief system. So this is my truth. I believe I am. And it's not very often the guest can go anywhere and say, I am consciousness having a human experience. Not very often. But and I was guided for this to occur. Guided for this. So the conversation is not talking about, being a medium, being an abductee, or being a dog walker, or being, we need to, because we're shifting, we're coming out of linguistics, we need to start getting prepared for a telepathic one. No lies, no this, no that. But it's a different energy. It's a different vibration. So the whole part of the podcast is to just step into that space. There's still egos there, there's still identity, but to pull it out, to raise the consciousness slightly, they start having the conversation from the truth. And it's been exceptionally successful, I must say. So that was the reason. It wasn't my idea. It never is any of my ideas. And now I've just created Inception Special, where each individual conscious being can come in with their speciality, how they're using their speciality, what they love, their excitement, because we beings have been so dumbed down, we've forgotten, as you said, imagination, novelty. We need to live our joy and excitement. So I'm bringing them on just to talk about their excitement, their joy, whether it doesn't matter what you do. So build up, because it raises the vibration in the individual being. So there is always agenda behind everything I do. The podcast at the moment, they started coming out once a week, released on Forbidden Knowledge News Network on a Friday. I got backlogged, so they're now Wednesday and Friday for the moment. But yeah, it's I learn every time. I learn every time, Karen, someone comes on the show. It's beautiful. It's like looking in a mirror, and I love it. I love it.
Yep. We're loving it too. It's amazing. Now, like I said, we're out of time, but maybe we can do this again. And and I'm really anxious to get this out. So I just want to thank you so much, Gloria, for being on the Quantum Guide Show. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you each and every time. Yeah. We can go places where a lot of people can't go. Well, yeah, they're getting there. But I'm not meaning they can't go there. It's that they don't have the practice going there. Yeah. And so it's just very refreshing to spend time with you and have honest conversations. So thank you so much.
I'm so glad if ones like this that are real, and whatever comes, let's discuss it. That's consciousness speaking, not the identity speaking. It's consciousness speaks, and we're here now.
We are. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll see you next week, and we'll say bye-bye, and take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to Karen's YouTube channel, click the like button, and share this show with your friends. Check out Karen's website at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. All the links are available in the description box below. Until the next time, keep up the good work.
Splendor into endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play. yeah,